Hey, it's C Crew Sports here, just doing an audio cover. I thought I would do a little short history in the expansion of the Big Ten, seeing that it's almost the 2024 season, and a lot of you Big Ten fans and other conferences want to know how in the hell did the Big Ten end up getting the way it was. Well, here it is. So back in 1896, there were 7 schools that got together: University of Chicago, Purdue, Michigan, Minnesota, Northwestern, Illinois, and Wisconsin. So literally all within a couple of states got together and formed what eventually in 1905 became the Intercollegiate Conference Athletic Association. Then there were an addition of 3 teams between 1899, which was Iowa and Indiana, that made 8 and 9, and then in 1912 there became 10 teams when Ohio State joined, and thus started, the 10-team conference, and really where it got its name, even though they still didn't call themselves the Big Ten. Then in 1946, the University of Chicago bows out. As most of you alive today have never even seen them play or even knew there was a University of Chicago. But now it becomes just 9 teams, and then Michigan State decides to join, and boom, now you have 10 again. Nothing happened for several years as far as addition or expansion, and then Penn State joins, thus making it the Big 11, which this is about the time I started watching college football when Penn State came into the Big Ten in 1990. No real major changes at all, other than 11 teams vying. Of course, the BCS, the Bowl Championship Series was a thing, so they still had no divisions. But Nebraska joins in 2011, making it 12 teams. Their idea was, hey, let's have a 12-team conference, but really in the same time frame, Rutgers and Maryland join. In addition to Nebraska, they come bouncing in, and now we have 14 teams. So what they do is the next year that football is played, they decide to divide 7 and 7. 7 teams under the brand of Legends and Leaders Division. And as you can see here, you've got, a pretty decent, what I would call parity of teams. You've got big hitters, Ohio State, Penn State, and Wisconsin in the Leaders Division. And then the Legends Division, you have Michigan, Michigan State, and maybe Iowa, and hopefully they were thinking Nebraska, right? But over the next couple of years, things just didn't pan out, and they changed, from Leaders and Legends to East and West divisions, like a normal conference, and they even realigned the teams. So this is what for the last 10 years you've been seeing played with championship games and so on and so forth, and then 10 years go by and they add Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA. So you've got the original 14, quote unquote original, the most recent. And then these 4 teams, all from the Pac-12, come in, and they create the largest, biggest, conference. And it's a power conference as well. I mean, I can't think of any other conference that has as many big names or has been around that long. And so you say, what are they going to do now for championship? Well, they've disbanded the divisions, and they've just gone to an entirely, back to the 90s and the early 2000s, when it was just the number 1 team, got to go to Rose Bowl or so on and so forth, the national championship. Or the college football playoff. And, here's the thing. 18 teams, number 1 and number 2, respectively, in the conference standings, will play for the championship. And whoever wins that game, which, by the way, they now have the Amos Alonzo Stagg Trophy, they're going to get a bye, a first-round bye. So that's a big deal. Well, I hope you enjoyed this presentation on Secret Sports, some of my other videos. I love to talk about the Big Ten, and every now and then I get on the Respect the Midwest podcast and maybe a few other places, hopefully. But there you go.